Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my mediocre YouTube channel. Today, we're going to dissect yet again another video of somebody speaking in their own words, telling us things that, quite frankly, sound like a video about seething, but when you listen very closely, it just sounds like a person who doesn't like themselves. So sit back and relax and take a listen and see what you think and let me know in the comments below.
2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead. This has been the greatest social experiment I've come to know.
So I understand that this person is a YouTuber. I don't know much about him. It sounds like he used to do YouTube videos about eating a ton of food and has ruined his body doing these YouTube videos, but also has a ton of followers and has made a ton of money doing it. Right off the bat, he calls his YouTube channel a social experiment, which is kind of interesting because generally YouTube is entertainment more so than a social experiment. So it does sound like it's coming from a place of a little bit of ego. So let's continue and see what else he has to say.
Certainly the greatest social experiment of my entire life. It's alluring. It's compelling. It's gripping. To bear witness, to observe all these unwell, unbalanced, disoriented beings roam the internet in search of stories.
Now, I also find this statement quite fascinating because the unwell, unbalanced people that roam the internet for stories are also the majority of the population. You could say that about people who read books, people who read magazines, people who read articles. Storytelling as a tale as old as time, literally and figuratively. Um, so I think that it's fascinating that he would describe it this way when I think one of the most archaic but tried and true ways of entertainment for many, many, many years, all the way back to the fact that we have seen pictures and symbols and things that we have interpreted to be storytelling. It's just fascinating to me that he's coming at storytelling from this angle when truly I think that listening to other people's stories is a completely normal thing, and it has been for a really long time. I don't think that this is the diss that he thinks it is.
In search of ideas, of conflict, of rivalries, where people develop a distinctive desire for direct engagement, where people feel involved with the stories and therefore become product of influence.
Now, I do agree. I think social media does make people more involved with the stories. They do have a little bit more influence in that, as opposed to something like a book where it is a story printed on paper that is consumed by another person. But again, I still really don't think that it is the diss that he thinks it is. It's just interesting to me because it sounds so much like he's trying to talk down to the audience who has arguably paid his bills and consumed his content and has helped his channel grow, and that's sad. It's sad to see him react to his followers in this way.
Thirsty for distraction, from time unspent, from lackluster lifestyles, spoiling their minds while stimulating them at the exact same time. It's brilliant, but it's also dangerous.
Yes. I don't think that anybody is going to argue that it can be dangerous to consume too much fairy tale fantasy, just as much as it's also dangerous to consume too much news. Mental health experts are still learning more about what the internet and phones and screens and social media are doing to our brains in the way that they function, the way that they work. And he kind of proves a point here more than once, and he proves that moderation is a huge issue. Look at him here. He has made a channel based off of overeating and overweight and overconsumption. And now he is telling his audience that the overconsumption of his channel is a problem. I mean, it's really no secret, especially for Americans, that everybody is over-consuming everything, over-consuming our resources, we're over-consuming our food, we're over-consuming sugar, and we can go on and on and on and on. So I get what he's saying at a surface level, but again, it sounds from the tone of his voice, it sounds like he is trying to seethe at his community, but at the end of the day, I think that he is accidentally just proof of what he's seething. He's just showing that what he's saying is true and has made him successful, and now he feels that he is entitled to speak from this. He's putting himself up on a pedestal as if he is coming from a different place than everybody else, but the reality is the social experiment that he's describing is just him. It's not an experiment, it's just the reality just proving itself over and over again in many different ways. He's not some mastermind of something. He's just calling out the obvious and trying to make it look like he has discovered something that nobody else has discovered.
I feel as if my life has been positioned to where I'm monitoring ants on an ant farm. One follows another, follows another, follows another. It's mesmerizing. It's enthralling. It's spellbinding. Just look at all these consumers.
He says this as if he is has a god complex, as if he is in a specific position to watch people as if they are ants and he is at a higher level. But I mean, truly, the reality of the situation is he is just one of the ants. He's just stepped out of the line and taken a look at the front, middle, and back of the line and realized where the line is going. He's no better, he's no worse. He's just a normal person. And I think that this ego issue that he has going on right now is a really big problem for him.
All of these lost and bored people consuming anything that they're told to consume.
I don't think that necessarily people are consuming anything that they're told to consume. I think that argument is better suited for large media conglomerates. I think he's just a guy on YouTube who lives in a bubble, who thinks that his bubble is the most important thing in the world. And the reality of the situation is that as much as he has 4 million subscribers, there's just that many million people who have absolutely no idea who he is and absolutely don't care who he is.
I am the villain, but I make myself one. And people will consume these stories year after year after year. Stories that shock, that confuse, stories that are deliberately made to blur the boundaries between fact and fiction.
I don't think that the boundaries are blurred by any means. I think that he thinks that he can blur those boundaries. Um, I just think that his perspective's really skewed about the situation. I don't know if maybe he's just speaking from his perspective and that he feels like he's losing himself in the content that he's creating. Maybe he is putting on an entertainment facade for the YouTube channel that he created, and now he feels like he's lost himself in that. And that's something that he's going to have to come to terms with. But taking it out on your audience in a 4-minute video is not going to rectify that situation. And if the lore is true that he made this video over 2 years ago and then banked up enough videos to continue his normal content while behind the scenes he lost a whole bunch of weight, if that lore is true, then that means that he has been carrying these feelings for, at minimum, 2+ years. So, although he's made this amazing body transformation, which should be, is a great achievement, it's something that he should be very, very, very proud of. Even though he's made this transformation, and it sounds like his mind hasn't really made this transformation, this maturity level. And I think that that's something that he's still going to have to grapple with.
Stories that permeate, infect, and linger in the minds of the ants. Influence the.
I don't think we, the ants, are thinking about him that much. I think people watch content for a brief step out of their own reality and then they move on. Sometimes I get hooked on something, I get hooked on a story, hooked on an idea, and I will follow it more closely, and then eventually it just falls off. I don't think that these people are following him as if he is a god worth worshiping. I think that his perception of that is how he's gotten here today.
The ants. Brainwash the ants. You are the ant. I woke up this morning to money deposited into my account for simply not doing something, for simply not going through with something. People are the most fucked up creatures on this planet.
This is where I really see that disease of ego coming out of him. There's a lot of people out there who don't necessarily get to choose how they get their income, and they don't get to talk about their income like this. There's a lot of people out there who are struggling, and then there is this guy who has made income off of YouTube, and I would say by the way he's talking, and by his follower count, I'm assuming that he's made a decent amount of income off of YouTube, but yet still feels the need to talk about receiving income in this way, as if almost like it's negative, as if it's pity income, as if it's unearned income, as if it's undesired even.
And you will continue to consume. And I'll continue to be 2 steps ahead. Today, I thought it would be a splendid idea to go out and get some food. Film it for you. Gee, are you surprised? Have you forgotten the story?
No, we didn't forget the story. We just don't understand the story.
Are you not paying attention?
Nope, we're still here, but we're struggling to pay attention because we're ants and have no brains.
After all, you're here to consume, are you not?
Well, guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much. If you don't mind, again, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to figure out how to do this YouTube thing. Unlike Nickocado Avocado, I am not an experienced YouTuber. Overall, though, watching this video and watching him seethe, the only thing that I want to do is watch It's a Bug's Life. And no, I'm joking. um it truly does remind me of A Bug's Life, where all the little ants take their little food and put it in a pile because of the big grasshopper, and he's the big grasshopper and I'm a little ant, but the little ants win in the end and the big grasshopper loses. So, with that little moral of a story in mind, at the end of the day, watching him, watching his facial expression, watching his eyes, and watching the way that this has played out over the last 2 years, the only thing that I see is someone who is deeply, deeply, deeply resentful. I don't know exactly what he's resentful of. I don't know if he's lost something during his YouTube journey. I don't know if he's, like, lost friends, lost a partner, lost like, if it was just a matter of the health issues. I don't know. I don't know enough about him to know. It's probably better that way. I'm just trying to react to what he's saying in his own words, but it's resentment. That's what I see. I see resentment from him, and it's coming out as this cocky seething for his community, and that's sad. It's really, really sad. I mean, after years of content, if the only thing that he's taking from this is a "Ooh, I gotcha. I'm 2 steps ahead of you" moment, I hope that somewhere in his life there's healing for him. It seems like he has done a lot of work on his body, which is fantastic because there's a lot of Americans out there who are at minimum overweight and more likely than not obese. And I think that this is a great opportunity to discuss that and to have those conversations. But instead of doing that, he sees at people, he sees at his chat, he just loses it. And I don't know, I wish for him that with all of the body healing came some healing of the mind, and you know what, maybe it did, but I don't see it yet. Oh, maybe I'm just 2 steps behind and I'm just a little ant and he's just the big huge grasshopper. We wish him the best. We hope him a long and prosperous life. Oh, at the end of the day, being an ant isn't so bad. So, with all of that being said, thank you guys again for being here. Thank you for listening to this. If you don't mind, please like, comment, and subscribe. Well, I try really hard to figure out how to be a YouTuber. Thanks.